That tip the canoe scene is very intense.
Oh yeah.
Or tip the kayak rather.
Yeah, I was terrified because I was working with the megawatts.
Wait, Naomi, is this like an existing nickname or did you get the nickname on the set?
Every time I come to set, I expect people to greet me as
It's actually in her rider.
This is Matt Donnelly, senior film writer at Variety, here in our virtual Toronto interview studio, and thrilled to welcome the director, producers, and stars of Penguin Bloom. Why were you compelled to particularly tell this story?
For all of us, it really started with the true story of Sam Bloom, and the way that we came to it was from a book that was made by her husband Cam and a wonderful writer called Bradley Trevor Grieve. They made this beautiful book that was sort of part biography, part photography book. Ultimately, it was very simple and poetic and had, I guess, a power to it that was, I don't know, I'd never read anything like it. And, you know, I read it and I liked it. My daughter read it and liked it. And I think we all had this very similar experience, that this was a story that, you know, regardless of age or, you know, it kind of affected you. It was quite different for the work I normally do. But I was looking for something very, I don't know, something that I guess, I don't want to say inspirational, but something that had an effect on people that I don't know, made them feel good. It's as simple as that, you know, and that's kind of the story, you know, like Sam Bloom is an inspiring character, and what happened to her, and, you know, the healing power of nature is it's a very true story and very specific, but hopefully has an effect on a lot of people.
as an actor, you're always looking for powerful stories with a great emotional arc, and in this case an uplifting one despite the deep dark experience that Sam had to navigate. It leaves you with a hopeful feeling, this broken family that finds its way to recovery. I just loved that, and to be in Australia and to something my kids could watch and experience too. In terms of being a producer, this was something that compelled me, that I had that much belief in. And yeah, I spent money on developing the material with my great friends, which just felt like an easy thing to do because I just believed in it.
Would you mind just giving us a quick synopsis of who Sam is and what actually happens to her?
Sam Bloom is, her life changes in an instant because they're on holiday in Thailand, the whole family. They decide to take a sunset picture on the top of the roof, and the railing that she leans up against suddenly breaks and she falls backwards and breaks her back, and instantly her life has changed, and she has multiple surgeries, and she feels not only physically broken but emotionally broken, and it's incredibly hard for her to get to a place where she wants to live her life. So that's the story. It's a story of hope and recovery.
I think when you have material like this that is both very dark and also eventually very uplifting, there's a fine line to walk in terms of how much seriousness you put in to the struggles of the couple. And how did you sort of negotiate that relationship so quickly in the sort of shooting a film?
It was such a pleasure just to work with Naomi, and also Glendyn's directing is so subtle and beautiful and supportive, and the crew and the whole atmosphere of the shoot was really, really special. There was just a lot of goodwill around. My family was there, Naomi's family. It was, you said about children and animals. The reason why people don't want to work with children and animals is because when they're good, they're really good. And I kept saying to Naomi, I said, the camera's not going to go higher than their heads. Do you know what I mean? Because they're so fantastic, these kids. And because I reacted in the same way that everybody else did. I said, this is a beautiful story of resilience, hope, and love. That's all I'm in. I just want to be a part of this thing. And when I met Cam and Sam, and they were so hospitable and extraordinary, and considering that we filmed in their house, you know, I mean, I said, do you realize what a film crew does to a house like this? You know? And then I just, because they are such extraordinary and beautiful human beings, and it's such a intensely personal story, I wanted to honor it, you know, and it was, I asked Cameron lots of silly questions about trying to get inside his head. And then I said, what do you want from this movie? And he said, and he deflected, but he said, our best friends say that I want people to realize that you're soulmates. So that was my responsibility with Naomi, is to give all of my love and support and what Cam did in real life, that is just heard, you know, children and magpies, you know, and try and make a good Vegemite sandwich, you know what I mean? That was my job. But ultimately it was just to sort of listen and be in a scene with megawatts over there.
I'd love to talk too about sort of the honesty of the story. You know, I think that tonally and visually you do sort of get an idea that that hope will spring eternal eventually. But one of the things that I admire most about the film is this beautiful scene with you know, when Sam sort of breaks down and is sort of in the thick of her depression, and there's an exchange between Naomi and Andrew where Naomi says, you aren't enough and the kids aren't enough. I don't know how to sort of carve my life out. And I think it's a brave and very honest thing, especially you might not see a lot of mothers on screen be willing to admit to, which I think is incredibly brave, but also very true.
The Blooms themselves as people have never tried to gloss over the story. They've never, you know, Sam Bloom will never recover. Like, it's not like she'll ever walk. Like, she's got this
Right.
for life, and it's a constant reminder. But they, you know, it really came from them. They encouraged us to do that, to go to places that, you know, most films like this may not portray. As far as, you know, us working together, like Naomi's she's a brave actor. Like, she's not afraid to go where you need to go. In fact, I was constantly surprised and you know, blown away by just how confident Naomi is in allowing herself to be that raw. Nothing was really off limits in how we wanted to do things. I think that's right, isn't it, Naomi? Like it just
Yeah,
I was blown away. Yeah.
Sam was incredibly generous. I mean, she actually gave me some of her journals to read, and
Oh, wow.
it was deeply personal. I was blown away by what I was reading. There's so much pain for her to carry, physically excruciating pain daily, as well as I'm trapped in my body. I'll never have the life that I loved again. I'm alone. I'm in deep isolation. I'm miserable. And, you know, some of the people that she was in rehab with were also, you know, suicidal. Some, you know, one of them didn't make it. You know, it's a horrible place that we were exploring, and it had to come out. We all were committed to making an authentic version. It's not just a fluffy feel-good movie. One of her great relationships, other than her family and the constant support, is with Rachel's character, Gaye. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is with Rachel, literally, you know, where we stole that moment, right, Glendyn? At the end of the day, we just chucked ourselves in the water, and you know, it's freezing cold, and Rachel and I just hold hands and started belting out a song, and
that was improv?
That was, yeah.
That's incredible. Rachel, Gaye as a character is so wonderful and very frank, but in a lot of ways, I think obviously gives dignity back to Sam, and in such a simple and sort of natural way that I think in the wrong hands could have been very, you know, preachy and Deus Ex Machina. But tell me about her, and is that based on a real relationship? Did Sam have an actual therapist that she worked with that was transformative?
Oh yeah, Gaye is real. And she is a New Zealander, a fellow New Zealander as well. And she's I mean, she is that. That character is, it pretty much encompasses who the real life Gaye is. She came to the studio where we were doing wardrobe and whatnot. She came on a pickup truck and her shorts and her, you know, sunglasses, and she was exactly as we kind of see her in the film, and this Pounamu pendant. But she just, you immediately felt that you could trust her. Like, she just had one of those qualities as a human being where you just felt entirely relaxed, and like you could tell her anything and trust her with your life, you know. So she really is that person, yeah.
Glendyn, I counted 10 birds as the character Penguin in credits.
Oh,
you like, don't make me ask you the bird question, but is it all real birds, no CG, and you used 10 of them? And what in God's name was that like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different birds. I mean, partly because we go from Penguin being a little fledgling injured bird right through to an adult mature bird. But yeah, I don't know, 95%, maybe less, maybe more, it's all real. You know, magpies, they're a bit like dogs. Like, you can train them like dogs, but also, you know, like dogs, every animal, you're totally at their disposal. Like, you can't really get them to do much. And we really wanted Penguin, as Penguin was in the real story. Penguin's not a pet. Penguin is a wild bird who sort of chose to hang out with this family. And a lot of the times you really felt that you were in the hands of a wild bird. Like, we had planned and, you know, had certain trainings that we had this bird do. And we had an incredible trainer, Paul Mander, who only works with birds. And, you know, he did all this work. And sometimes, you know, you might have planned for a shot for months. And you'd be on set and it just would not happen. But strangely enough, Penguin would do something, you know, altogether different that was probably more appropriate, and you'd have to lean to it, you know, sometimes. And other times you'd want Penguin to come in and land on a mark and it would happen first time and everyone would just be looking at themselves like, it just happened. So every time Penguin was on set, which often, you really had no idea what was about to happen.
The first shot we did, you know, it had to be up close, and I thought, oh God, is it going to peck my eyes out? He had to sit on my head, and I was like, suddenly I heard people go, and then I felt a warm drizzle come down the center of my face, off my left eye, round the nostril, and I was like, oh, into my mouth. And it was the perfect icebreaker that we all...
I was watching it. When that happened, it was almost like it was happening in slow motion. It was a wide shot. We're away from you. And I was just like, this could go either way. This could be really fun. This could be Naomi's last shot.
Oh my God.